Welcome back to the shipyard and another OP recap video. This match features John and Chris. John's on the left. He's got the Ferengi ship, so that's how you figure him out. And Chris is on the right. So John has Koranak with Dukat, Gul Damar, that's Fleet Commander, and then Alyssa, Ogawa, Control Central from the Rateg, 48 points there. Regent's Flagship, I.R.W, Admiral Riker, Ceti, hidden, Klingon Navigator, Cloaked Mines, that's 50 points. The Krayton with Natasha, Quark, hiding Thoughtmaker, and Type 8 phasers, 32 points, round out the fleet. Chris has a Scorn with Khan and Slesak, the Gorn captain. Natasha, improved phasers, warp jump, Type 8, so 50 points there. An Enterprise A with Bounty Kirk, so discount on all his crew. Admiral Forrest, Needs of the Many, Mr. Spock, Sakona, William Riker, Type 8, additional, the Vo, Denatra, Nanklis, Cloaked Mines, full stop. Both are 130-point fleets.
Remove all tokens that were beside the ship.
Chris jumps in. He's going to warp jump out with the Scorn, and he's placing his ship early, but realistically the placement doesn't really matter at this point. This is all round 2 action, because round 1 was really just movement. Both players are going for a pretty standard joust. They both deployed Cloaked Mines.
So I know that everyone's going to spend a lot more time on maneuvers than I am. Okay. Started with your 6.
John's are the lighter mines. Chris's are the darker mines.
With Koranak.
Also, John's are the ones on the left. Chris's are the ones on the right. That's how you kind of know whose is whose. So we're getting ready for some combat here. This is going to be Koranak onto the Vo.
Well, I get 5 plus 1, so.
Yep. Did I cut that?
And
well, I guess I'll spin battle stations.
it's going to spin his battle stations, end up with 4 hits. Chris spins his evade now, because it really doesn't matter again. And he gets 4 evades.
That's it.
Yeah, no damage there. And that's the only shot of the round. So now we're moving on. Vo's going to make a nice turn. Kind of head towards Tholians, but, you know, the Vo's a really maneuverable ship. It's going to move around. The Krayton moves into Chris's minefield. The Koranak moves straight through it. Takes a tiny bit of damage. John's doing the right thing here. He has to fly through. Chris has played things really slow and has the Scorn on the tail of John's fleet. So really, John's only option is push. Push.
Yes.
Ceti Eel, shoot the Vo. Ceti Eel and Kirk shoot the Vo.
Okay. So I'm going to just disable him and not take the shot.
Okay.
John uses Ceti Eel on the Enterprise A.
Nice. Oh, if you want to slap another. That's a good one.
Chris decides to take the disable option to not make a shot. And I think that's the best option for Chris. It's a tough option, but it's kind of the only option you've got.
So I'm not going to let you go back and fix that one. You're an adult. Cloak is down. So that's a crit for the battle station, which becomes a crit with cons. That's 3 hits. Or you missed it.
I hit battle station.
Battle station? Okay. Or I can turn crit to. I might as well just do 3 hits and a crit. So 2 shields.
So the Scorn gets 3 hits and a crit in onto the
Damage sensor,
Krayton.
no action bar. No action, no actions.
Okay, I think this one blew out of there.
Oh.
No. Trying to make sure it makes it in there somewhere.
Yeah, that was a random
that.
damage card off
All
the bottom of the deck.
Skin of the teeth.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Skin of the teeth, yeah. So next is Gul Dukat, gets his big shot off.
Yep, so we're going to do...
So now John gets another shot with the Koranak.
Stupidly.
I'm
Range
gonna...
2.
And this is just at the limits of range 2. Eesh.
So I take my 6 dice
I want to.
on Enterprise. Yeah, not with the -2.
But yeah, he's going to get 6 dice because of Denatra. You know, John's positioned Denatra right in the middle of all of this.
Yeah.
And he's going to spin his target lock here to reroll everything.
Nice. How many hits?
Spinning the battle station. He's got 5 hits.
5 and a crit.
And a crit. So,
4 shields.
Jeez.
Okay, I'm going to use the needs of the menu on my next turn. So that's a hit and a crit. Oh wait, no, we got
all your shields and then a hit and a crit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to defense dice.
No shots with Con, but did not try to shot on the Enterprise.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened to defense dice there. Maybe Chris rolled off camera and they came up blank.
No quality on the Enterprise.
About 30 minutes
And I have
remaining.
stance.
Oh, okay. Well, he's shooting through an object, so that's.
You're right.
Yeah.
You did that. Yeah.
So now John's going to take a shot with the Krayton.
One hit. Great. Let's see if they... Oh.
Gets the 4th die because of type 8,
Alright.
but
Survived by skin of my teeth also.
doesn't roll well at all.
Alright, I'm going to discard Quark to bring up Thoughtmaker, and then discard Thoughtmaker to take the Gorn's dial.
Okay.
I'm going to set the Gorn's
So John here uses Thoughtmaker to set the Gorn's dial, which doesn't give him a ton of options. I think the best thing he can do is kind of fly him into the mines. He's lacking maybe a 2-turn would head him into Tholians. That might be a good ploy. Kind of tricky. It's a tricky position. The problem is that Chris can just take an Ox to not move, and then he's still in a good spot. But yeah, the one bank to the left is a weird call. So I look at this board position right now,
So
and I think Chris has the better of it, especially after John lost the Krayton due to cloaked mines. So, eesh. It's not just being up a ship. It's that right now John's ships are out of position. Though the Regents did just kill the Enterprise A. That's a big turning point. But now Chris is showing how maneuverable the Vo truly is. Pulling that one hard turn, he's still going to take some mine damage, but he's in that position where he doesn't really care. He's going to take one turn of that damage, and then he's done. And now this is another turn because there was no combat. So we're just moving along through this game, heading towards the end of the game. I think we're down to about 10 minutes left in this match. It's, you know, ships have been traded. Right now, if nothing else dies, John wins. John wins by 17 points, 49-32. So Chris has to do something bold. Chris uses reverse course to not make a move, and then does sensor echo. Or sorry, not reverse course, full stop.
+1 dice, not much quality. So 4 dice.
And then he sensor echoes so that he can actually move and not take damage from the
Alright.
planet, because
I think
that's a
that's
lot
range
of
three.
damage. That would have killed the
Yeah,
row.
range 3. So, wow. 2 hits, 2 crits.
Okay.
This is the
Evade,
Scorn
swing,
shooting in on the
So 2
Regents.
Oh, 2
One
crits?
crit,
2
that
crits
means
into
your
the
hull, that means
Regents.
1 crew is gone of your choice.
Okay, so.
And with
I have any proof?
Seslac
Okay, so that doesn't matter.
killing crew
With shield.
And a crit.
onto the Regents.
And
There
now
is
we'll
no
do
crew
the damage
there,
to your ships.
so
Communications failure, my cap is
it's
still 0.
Sweet. So this is 1, so take an additional damage.
and now there's the
That's gonna be
Tholians
1,
doing
so it's
extra
2.
damage, and
Nope.
yeah,
Nope. This is gonna be another one, so that's 3 for this to this.
Man, I took it all.
yeah,
And I
3
don't
extra
know- yeah,
damage.
that's 4
No. Oh, to which one?
from here to here.
No, not closest point to closest point.
So yeah, Tholian's bad. Being in the middle of the Tholian web, not a good life choice. That's the advice from this game. If you want to live, stay away from the Tholians. So yeah, this is a very wounded Regents, and with Chris getting
Okay, so there's one evade. I knew the other evade wasn't going to help.
So that's
5 hits, 4 through after the defense roll. I believe this is a dead Regents.
Failure. Turns it.
I think it has 7
That's
hull,
dead.
but 3 plus 4 is 7, if my math degree means anything.
I get only 1 dodge die.
Gul Dukat gets a revenge shot on
It's got 4 hull
the
and max.
Scorn,
4 shields, max hull.
and if it can have a miracle roll,
Are you running 2? Just 1. I was gonna
It-
run detonation.
it could do
mine,
things,
so
but-
full stop instead.
I'm pretty sure this is the last round too.
Oh, 4 hits. Nice.
1 dodge. I think I didn't have to use my battle station last time, so cancel 1 deflector screens.
Yeah,
so
so
that's
3 hits.
Yeah,
well,
so
-1 for my battle station.
So he uses his battle.
Oh, you used
So I
the
lost
so 2 hits.
2 hits. So 3 shields left.
Yep.
yeah, just
Alright.
losing
Sorry, that was
2
shields left.
Vote
losing
is
3
shot.
shields.
That's it.
That's going to be the game. So that was the shot
So
that Chris
all but-
needed in order to swing the game in
How much
his
hit points do
favor.
you guys do?
And yeah, 82-49 in favor of Chris. I think that match came down to John turning into the minefield, and if he would have been able to get away from the minefield, he would have had it. I don't know. It's still tricky to say. John had a lot of tricks up his sleeve, but he used them early. He had to use them early. He used Thoughtmaker at the right time, but I don't think he ultimately did the right move with Thoughtmaker. I think he needed to send the Scorn into the minefield. And then Chris would have not moved. He would have taken the Ox. And from there, you have some things you can do. If nothing else, it keeps the Scorn out of the battle a little bit longer. That doesn't fix everything. That doesn't make life great for you, but it delays that combat one more round. And that's all that the Regents needed. It needed one more turn to live. If it takes 1 round less of damage, we're good. John would have made it through. Chris played it well. The only problem I saw with what he did is that he used improved deflector screens against cloaked mine damage, which you can't do. That there's a Worf ruling on that. Improved deflector screens only work from attacks. Is that the big game changer? No. I think that accounts for 1 or 2 damage, which is ultimately just the Scorn shields. But that's not enough at the end of the day because the Scorn still had 2 shields left. So at worst, John's last shot would have knocked out the Scorn shields. So even in a world where we can make every rule perfect, there's still not a different outcome in the battle. Both players played reasonably well. This is just me sitting in my commentary box able to say, hey, in a different world, these are things that you could do to make it different. And that's what I'm trying to provide. I'm not slamming either guy for the choices they made in the game. I'm trying to say, hey, if you ever find yourself in this position, this is something you might try to do yourself. That's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, we'll see you around the shipyard. Take care.